Blackpool baking in the sun. That's pretty nearly holiday perfection. And that's how it was for most places for most of the Whit weekend. And after all those weeks and weeks of cold, how welcome was the chance to bask in the sun at last. Of course, the temperature on the sands isn't a guide to what the water's like, but a few brave spirits all round the coast seized the opportunity and went in. At Blackpool, they weren't all lazing about. There was that cycle race, the Tour of Britain, a very serious business indeed. The 11 teams represent 7 countries, and about 70 riders competed in the first stage of 103 miles from Blackpool to Rill. Total distance for the 13 days, 1,400 miles. There were 5 continental teams. Here's a rider all the way from Spain, Uriona, a prominent Englishman, last year's winner, Bill Holmes. Tommy Cooper conjured a little humour out of the start, and with an escort of scooters to see them safely on the way, the quick cyclist showed Blackpool a clean lot of back tyres. By the way, the Tour of Britain is sponsored by the Milk Marketing Board to prove to the athlete that in the saddle he's twice the man on a daily pinter. Something less hectic was seen at Norwich. Dogs sitting for the General Certificate of Canine Education. The subject now, road safety. Just to prove that going the right way about it, any owner can train a dog to be thoroughly wise, traffic-wise. This holy lock technique calls for a bit of nerve on Rover's part, but it's safer all round than scurrying away, only to land under the wheels after all. Then they have to learn to ignore the most tempting diversions, even a feline version of an electric hare. The Chief Constable gave the first prize to a Bedlington, Andy Cap, not a name you associate with good citizenship. Even now, that cat was quite safe. Over to the Isle of Man for the most sporting of motorcycle races, the Senior TT. The big machines, mostly in the 500cc class. Derek Minter, Norton. Alan Shepard, Matchless. R.J. Langston, Norton, coming in for a little domestic admiration. Gary Hocking, MV Augusta. There were 63 riders lined up for the start, getting off in pairs at 10-second intervals. In front of them lay 6 laps of the 37.7-mile circuit. Another MV Augusta, Mike Halewood. Tony Godfrey, Norton. Gary Hocking, he comes from Southern Rhodesia, was soon going great guns on his MV Augusta. By hurtling round 1 lap at 105.7, Gary Hocking clipped nearly 2 miles an hour off the record set by John Surtees 2 years ago. Gary Hocking won at the amazing average of 103.5 miles an hour. Down the Thames and over the Channel, Putney to Calais and back. An ambitious race for outboards with the prospect of some choppy sea near the French coast. But that was some way ahead of them at this stage as they left London behind. There was a brief stop at Ramsgate for refueling before tackling the English Channel. One boat was in trouble even before Ramsgate and had to be towed into the harbour. Away went number 1, sailed by Jeff Tobert and Reg Bullman, passing the South Goodman lightship in fine style. And there's Calais, and the first boat in, driven by Clive Curtis and Brian Brain. They only had to look around to be quite sure they were in a foreign country. Each competitor received a bottle of champagne before signing the visitor's book and setting out for home. In Calais, they met some rival Channel crossers who had actually come over on water skis. They too were hoping to return in the same way. The trouble with this sport is, at the start, you're at the mercy of the motorboat, as you see, down among the mermaids. Back to Putney came Clive Curtis and Brian Brain, winners of the Channel motorboat race. Champagne well deserved. There couldn't be a public holiday without a demonstration at Holy Loch. The anti-nuclear people make a point of coming here, as this is the base of the American Polaris missile submarines. So the usual conflict, police versus sit-downers, was played out once again. No one can deny that members of the campaign for nuclear disarmament are persistent. They know they run the risk of being prosecuted, but back they come, holiday after holiday. White City, the British Games. Start of the 6 miles, a big entry strongly representing all the latest stars in the long distance field. Martin Hyman, Bruce Tuller, Bullivant and Batty. An amazing finish. Martin Hyman's still in the lead. And now the barefooted marvel, Bruce Tuller, streaks along like a 100-yard sprinter in an irresistible finish. On the first day, Tuller won the 3-mile event. Tuller and Hyman, 2 great long-distance runners.